Hi, everybody. Today's Real Estate Real Talk show is a bit early, only because I have a crazy schedule because the market is booming. So, welcome back to Real Estate Real Talk. I'm Donna Kelly, and today we are going to tackle one of the most highest stakes, stressful, and exciting situations in our local market: multiple offers. There are a lot of them out there ever since the beginning of the year, and it's just gotten worse now that it's June. So let's take a deep dive into the 4 powerful levels buyers can pull to win without just throwing money at the wall, and exactly how to sell and determine what works best for you. So the first lever we're going to talk about today is the escrow check or the deposit check. When you're looking at the offer, I always tell my buyers, I tell them, look at the house. If it checks all the boxes and you're madly in love, and if you know you aren't going to, if you don't win the offer, you think you'll never find another house that meets this house, then we'll pull out all the stops. We'll check off all those levers. We'll pull them down. So the first step is determining how much you really want that house and what it's worth to you. And I have to tell you, multiple offer situations, it's emotional for the buyer, it's emotional for the seller. Agents, professionally, we're trying to help you manage and look at this without going too crazy. And that is why I ask, how important is this house to you? Let's bid on it the way you feel about it. So, escrow check. That money is going towards the house anyhow. So whether you put $5,000 down or $15,000 down, it still goes towards the cost of your house or towards your down payment. So why not increase it? The only time you're going to lose that escrow check is if you wake up one morning and decide you don't want the house and you walk away from the sale. Other than that, there are regulations and terms in your contract that allow you to back out of the sale during the home inspection, appraisal, and if the deed doesn't clear. Again, increase your escrow deposit if you have the cash flow. It's your part of your down payment anyhow, and it shows the seller that you are serious. And that's what you want, right? You want to make a splash. The first thing they see on an offer is your sell price. The second thing they see is how much you're putting down. The third thing they see is an escalation clause. It's just how our contract runs. I always put in the offer amount, please see escalation clause. And how does that work? If you have a lot of people bidding and the seller allows you to have an escalation clause, what happens is you look and say, okay, this house is worth $300,000. I'm going to start at $305,000, but what this house is worth to me, if I win it, is only $340,000. So we decide at that point how much we're going to escalate over the highest offer. So if you started at $305,000 and you have $1,000 escalation, then maybe there's a $310,000 offer. You would win at $311,000. But you have to have a cap. You can write no cap, but you have to prove you have the funds for a no cap. So it can get a little crazy. It can be a little confusing. And that's why sellers sometimes will say no escalation clause is allowed. The next important one is the inspection threshold. Currently, our standard contract says $2,000 for one single item. So what does that mean? We look at the furnace during inspections, or the roof, or mold. Let's say we have mold in the attic. We go and get a quote. It's $2,500. Well, now we can go back to the table and make a demand to the seller that we want a credit, or for them to remediate the mold before you move in, because it's over $2,000. Now, in multiple offer situations, this happens all the time. People waive the inspection. They say it looks like they took good care of it. But what if there was a foundation issue? What if there was a furnace issue, a CO? I've had that happen where the furnace looks great, but there's a CO detector that the inspectors use and it goes off. And it's telling you there's something wrong with the furnace. So you could raise your threshold to $5,000, $10,000. I've had buyers do that and been fined during inspections. And again, I've seen many times where people waive inspections. But think about this. Winning that offer, is it worth putting out the cash later, right? Maybe it is to you. But waiving inspections on the biggest purchase you're probably going to make in your lifetime. Think about that. So yes, you waive inspections, you're probably going to win the offer. But what's the cost to you in the end? And the last part for a buyer, excuse me, is the appraisal gap. So everybody's bidding on these multiple offers, and then it was a $300,000 home, and you bid 420. But the question is, and I as an agent will talk to you about this, will it appraise for 420? I'll run comps for you. We'll look at it. But it's something the seller has to think about, because if you're not paying cash for the house, you're going to have a bank, and the bank is going to send out an appraiser, and the appraiser is going to appraise that house. And what if you won the offer at 420 and appraised for 399? Now there's a gap of $20,000. Who's going to pay that? Well, you don't want to pay it, and the seller doesn't want to pay it. But if you put in an appraisal gap clause where it says you're willing to pay up to $5,000 or $10,000 in an appraisal gap, that helps the seller pick your offer, because they know that you'll be easy to work with. There'll be a discussion. So in my appraisal gap, I either put in, depending on what you tell me, the $5,000 or the $10,000, and then I say that when the appraisal comes back, we'll all sit down at the table and discuss what this looks like and what's in everyone's best interest. So those are 4 factors that you can think about when you're in a multiple offer situation. Now, if you're the seller, how do you pick the best offer? Well, I tell my sellers the same thing I just told my buyers, but a little bit differently. For sellers, what's the most important thing for you? Is it the price? Is it the inspections? Is it the speed of the sale? What I'm seeing a lot today is sellers put their home in the market and they say it's contingent on them finding their next home, because sellers, and I've had a few, they don't want to sell their house first because they don't want to move everything into an apartment and then they move it into another house. And I'm guessing they didn't talk to a good lender who could help them with a bridge loan or a home equity loan, which could make that process smoother. So instead, they put in a contingency. So that's for you, seller, may be an important thing that you want to add, or you're looking for a buyer that is willing to wait, because maybe they have a lease already on their rental, so they're willing to wait for you to find your next home. It could be, again, price. It could be the down payment. So you have a cash offer and you have a conventional loan offer. But on the conventional loan offer, they put $200,000 down on that $300,000 house. So you're thinking, well, that's pretty good. And they raised their inspection threshold to $300,000. And you're looking at the cash offer and you're saying, well, they didn't do anything with their threshold and their offer just isn't interesting. So I'm going to go with this conventional. And I can tell you, most recently, it worked with buyers, and the seller picked the conventional because they waived inspections or they raised the threshold. So, you as a seller have to determine what's important to you, and your agent, like myself, will help you navigate and help you check off what is important. We go through all the offers and we make a determination. So multiple offers is never easy. It's not easy for the buyer. It's not easy for the seller. That's why you have professional agents that help you manage these situations, help you identify what's important to you, and then identify the offer that meets your priorities. So I hope this was helpful today. I appreciate you working with me on doing this a couple hours early. Next week, Jason and I will be talking about a few things, and the week after, pay attention, because this is important to some of you buyers and even sellers when you're getting ready to sell, is a 2-3 loan. 2-3K loan, and that's a renovation loan. Sellers can use it to help renovate their home before sale. You can use a home equity too, and buyers, you can use a 2-3K loan on a house that you're going to purchase that you want to renovate. But that's a whole nother basket of eggs, and we'll talk about all that soon. Thank you today for joining me, and I hope all of you enjoy the summer ahead. Talk to you soon.